Welcome back to Guides English Language and Literature, your one-stop solution to understanding Shakespeare's Macbeth. In Part 1, we explored Macbeth's transformation into a tyrant, Lady Macbeth's descent into madness. If you haven't watched Part 1 yet, make sure to check it out first for the full breakdown of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth's final moments. Act 5 plot development and dramatic irony. Dramatic irony occurs when the audience knows something a character does not, creating tension as they unknowingly move toward their fate. In Act 5, Macbeth still believes he is untouchable, but the audience can see how the witch's words are unfolding in ways he never expected. His false confidence leads him straight to destruction. The first prophecy to come true is the one about Birnam Wood. Macbeth was told he would not be defeated until Birnam Wood came to Dunsinane, something he thought was impossible. However, Malcolm's army cuts down branches to use as camouflage, making it appear as if the forest is moving. What seemed like a supernatural event is instead fulfilled through military strategy, proving that Macbeth's trust in the witches was misplaced. Then, Macbeth finally comes face to face with Macduff. He had been warned to beware him, but dismissed the threat, believing himself invincible. When Macduff reveals that he was from his mother's womb untimely ripped, Macbeth realizes too late that the witch's words were never meant to reassure him. They were leading him toward his doom. With Macbeth's fate sealed, vengeance converges as Malcolm and Macduff's separate revenge plots come together. The pace of the play accelerates, with multiple forces closing in on the isolated tyrant. His downfall is inevitable. Finally, order is restored. With Macbeth dead, Malcolm takes his rightful place as king, bringing peace back to Scotland. The cycle of ambition, violence, and tyranny ends, and a natural order is re-established. Imagery, symbolism, and motifs. Shakespeare weaves powerful imagery throughout Act 5 to reinforce key themes and ideas, creating a vivid and dramatic conclusion to Macbeth. Blood. Lady Macbeth's guilt is symbolized by the blood she cannot wash away. In her sleepwalking scene, she obsessively rubs her hands, crying out, "Damned spot." The blood she once dismissed as easy to remove now represents the permanent stain of their crimes, showing that guilt cannot simply be washed away. Sleep. Earlier in the play, Macbeth murdered Duncan in his sleep, and Lady Macbeth claimed that a little water clears us of this deed. Now, in Act 5, sleep offers no escape. Lady Macbeth's sleepwalking shows that even in unconsciousness, her mind is tormented. Sleep, which should bring rest, has become a symbol of guilt and psychological torment. Nature. Birnam Wood's movement toward Dunsinane symbolizes nature itself turning against Macbeth. Throughout the play, unnatural acts, such as regicide, disrupt the natural order. Now, nature plays a role in fulfilling the prophecy and ensuring Macbeth's downfall. Light and darkness. Lady Macbeth, who once called on darkness to hide her deeds, now fears it. She insists on keeping a candle beside her at all times, as if trying to push away the guilt that haunts her. Meanwhile, Macbeth describes life as a brief candle, emphasizing how short and meaningless existence has become to him. The contrast between light and darkness highlights their shifting psychological states. Lady Macbeth, who once embraced darkness, is now terrified of it, while Macbeth sees light as something fleeting and insignificant. These recurring images and symbols reinforce the play's exploration of guilt, fate, and the consequences of unchecked ambition. They add depth to the character's psychological turmoil and make the final act of Macbeth even more haunting and powerful. Language analysis. Macbeth's soliloquies. Shakespeare uses Macbeth's soliloquies in Act 5 to reveal his final descent into nihilism and his acceptance of fate. His language reflects a man who has lost all purpose, drained of the ambition that once drove him. Tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow. When Macbeth hears of Lady Macbeth's death, his response is shockingly detached. He delivers this famous soliloquy, in which he describes life as a meaningless cycle, leading only to death. The repetition of tomorrow creates a slow, dragging rhythm, mirroring his sense of exhaustion and inevitability. Time, once something he sought to control, now stretches out endlessly, leading to nothing. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Macbeth compares life to an actor playing a brief and insignificant role. The imagery of a shadow and a fleeting player suggests that human existence is insubstantial and ultimately meaningless. His ambition, which once consumed him, has left him with nothing but despair. Lay on, Macduff, and damn be him that first cries, "Hold, enough!" In his final moments, Macbeth reclaims his warrior spirit. Even though he now understands the prophecies have betrayed him, he refuses to surrender. His language shifts from hollow fatalism to defiant courage. He would rather die fighting than submit. These soliloquies mark the final stage of Macbeth's transformation. Once a man driven by ambition and a desire for control, he now sees life as empty, yet chooses to fight until the end. Language analysis. Lady Macbeth's sleepwalking scene. Lady Macbeth's sleepwalking scene in Act 5 is one of the most powerful moments in the play. Her once controlled and commanding speech has now fragmented into a series of disjointed, obsessive phrases, revealing her deep psychological torment. Broken syntax. Unlike her earlier speeches, which were structured and forceful, her lines now trail off and shift abruptly. She moves between past events with no clear logic, showing a mind unraveling under the weight of guilt. Her loss of control contrasts sharply with the dominance she once displayed over Macbeth. Repeated phrases, "Out, damn spot! Out, I say!" Her compulsive need to wash away her sins is seen in her language, as well as multiple ideas are repeated reflecting her growing panic and obsessive guilt. The blood she once dismissed as easily washed away has become an inescapable stain on her conscience. Memory echoes. She revisits key moments of the past, reliving Duncan's murder, the aftermath, and even the slaughter of Macduff's family. The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? Shows how the violence she unleashed now torments her. She can no longer suppress these memories. Lost control. Her earlier ability to manipulate Macbeth and suppress guilt is completely gone. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand is a direct contrast to her earlier belief that a little water clears us of this deed. She now realizes that no external force can rid her of the guilt she carries. Lady Macbeth's language in this scene marks her tragic downfall. The woman who once dismissed fear and remorse is now consumed by them. Her subconscious confessions make this moment even more devastating as the audience watches the full extent of her psychological collapse. For a deeper analysis of how Shakespeare uses language in Macbeth, check out our videos on the language of Macbeth characters and Macbeth soliloquies. Act 5. Setting and Atmosphere. The setting and atmosphere in Act 5 of Macbeth reflect the chaos, isolation, and inevitable downfall of the play's central characters. Each location reinforces the themes of power, fate, and psychological collapse. Dunsinane Castle. Once a symbol of Macbeth's power, the castle now feels more like a prison. As his allies abandon him and enemies approach, the fortress becomes a place of paranoia and despair. Macbeth isolates himself within its walls, clinging to the witch's prophecies for reassurance, yet knowing deep down that his reign is ending. Servants flee, and the once mighty ruler is left surrounded by fear and betrayal. Birnam Wood. The natural world itself seems to turn against Macbeth. The prophecy that Birnam Wood will move to Dunsinane becomes reality when Malcolm's soldiers use branches as camouflage. This setting reinforces the idea that Macbeth crimes have disrupted nature, and now nature is correcting the imbalance by aiding his downfall. The battlefield. The play begins and ends with war, bringing Macbeth's journey full circle. He was once a noble warrior fighting for Scotland, but now he fights for himself, desperately clinging to power. The battlefield setting strips away all illusion. Here, Macbeth must face the consequences of his ambition in direct combat. The antechamber at Dunsinane Castle. This setting offers an intimate yet detached view of Lady Macbeth's decline. Unlike the dramatic settings of war and power struggles, the quiet observation of her sleepwalking makes her suffering feel even more tragic. The clinical setting emphasizes her isolation, as her mind unravels before witnesses who could do nothing to save her. Each of these locations contributes to the overwhelming sense of doom in Act 5. Dunsinane, once Macbeth's fortress, becomes his tomb. Birnam Wood, once distant, closes in as a sign of fate catching up with him. The battlefield, once a place of glory, now seals his fate. And the doctor's chambers, where Lady Macbeth's guilt is laid bare, reminds us that no amount of power can erase the weight of a guilty conscience. Themes and conclusion. Act 5 of Macbeth brings the play's central themes to their full realization, showing the devastating consequences of unchecked ambition, guilt, and fate. Corrupting ambition, Macbeth's thirst for power has led him from noble warrior to tyrant, and ultimately to ruin. His belief that he could control fate through murder only brings about his own downfall. Lady Macbeth, who once pushed him toward ambition, is also consumed by it, showing that unchecked desire for power destroys not only the person who seeks it, but those around them as well. Psychological consequences of guilt. Guilt manifests in different ways for Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. Macbeth, once tormented by regret, hardens into nihilism, believing life is meaningless. Lady Macbeth, who once dismissed guilt, is overwhelmed by it, descending into madness and despair. Their contrasting responses to guilt highlight the psychological cost of their crimes. Justice and retribution. The murders Macbeth committed come back to haunt him. Duncan's murder set off a chain reaction of violence, but in the end, justice prevails. The witch's prophecies are fulfilled, but not in the way Macbeth expected, proving that fate cannot be manipulated and actions always have consequences. Restoration of order. With Macbeth dead, Malcolm takes his rightful place as king, symbolizing the restoration of peace and natural order. Scotland, once bleeding under Macbeth's rule, can now begin to heal. The rightful line of succession is restored, showing that tyranny is temporary, but justice endures. Act 5 serves as the final reckoning for Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. Their downfall is not just the result of fate, but of their own choices. Shakespeare leaves us with a powerful message. Ambition without morality leads to destruction, and no amount of power can protect against the weight of a guilty conscience. And that brings us to the end of Macbeth. What do you think? Was Macbeth doomed from the start? Or could he have changed his fate? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more literary analysis. Stay tuned for our next video. This has been Guides, English Language and Literature. Thanks for watching. And that brings us to the end of Act 5 and the final moments of Macbeth. Through powerful imagery, language, and dramatic irony, Shakespeare shows us that ambition without morality leads only to destruction. But was Macbeth truly fated for this end? Or could he have changed his path? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth literary analysis. This has been Guides, English Language and Literature. Thanks for watching.